Last question. What failure has led to the most success in your stand-up career?
Hmm. So, I guess number one, I have to say, now none of these things, some people would debate whether some of these things are failures.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I would say I bombed a lot in black rooms when I started out doing comedy because those rooms would scare me. Now, that helped because the bombing in the black rooms taught me to get better at doing it, and it also taught me how to get better at doing it, which is to not be afraid. And that's a big thing that has helped. The other thing, of course, last year I got to the Elite Eight in Comedy Madness at Caroline's, which, you know, some people will say that's not a failure, but that helped a lot in my career. I mean, because of that, I got to do Comics to Watch at the New York Comedy Festival. Cool. And I got to become more of a regular at Caroline's. And so that has helped out a lot. And I mean, I guess I was, you know, the silly contest at Helium, Philly's Funniest. I got runner-up in Philly's Funniest twice. And the only reason that helped, because I was pretty much in the rotation before that, but the only reason that helped was because that really made me colder in a bit sense, because I stopped expecting so much. I stopped caring about contests. I stopped caring about what people thought my worth was, because the very first time I got runner-up, I figured, oh, well, I guess I'm, you know, that's how good I am. But it helped me develop a certain amount of gritty nastiness and defiance, which helps me to be confident in knowing that no matter where I place in any contest, it doesn't mean that I'm not better than anyone on that contest. And so those failures did nothing for me business-wise, but it just helped my mindset. But if I didn't have those failures, I wouldn't be as strong as I am right now mentally.
Failure led to success. Probably the whole falling out with, you know, my dad and everything. Like, once I left and I wasn't working with him down at the shore anymore, that's when I was able to tell Star Patty, I was able to tell, you know, guys like you that book rooms, and that I was available, because I would leave for the summer. It was like I was helping with the tap room, but when June came around, they knew I was out for 3 months. And I didn't do gigs. I was, you know, rarely on stage when I was down there. But when I left that, it became every weekend I was getting work. So I think that in itself, you know, losing out on the beach lifestyle, but then gaining, you know, all the work that I've gotten, it was probably failure to success, I'd say.
Awesome.
Well, I don't have any success, so I guess failure is just basically the whole process of comedy in general, just going out and trying it and then you know, coming back kind of thing. Or trying jokes a certain way and not saying it the right way and then figuring out the proper way to say it. Like, you know, there was a joke, an old joke, where it was like, I would punch my grandmother in the stomach was one of the tags. And that's too real. So I had to change it to I would kick a baby off the top of a mountain. and then people laughed because it's ridiculous. Yeah. Even though you would argue that the violence is way worse. with the baby, but since it's a ridiculous situation, then people went with it. But punching your grandmother's stomach is too real.
That man looks like a guy who punches his grandmother in the stomach. Okay.
I already know that one. My second show ever. So I told you about my first show, and it went pretty good. I got some laughs. I got so confident from that first show that I signed up for a second show at a different venue with a different producer. This time I invited all of my friends to come out and see. I told them I had started doing this, and I had the worst performance I've ever had in my life. Not single, not one. Because I didn't use any jokes from that first set that I did. I wrote all new jokes, and they were absolutely horrible. I couldn't read the room for anything. I got no laughs. And that failure was the best thing that ever happened to me, because afterwards my friends were just like, you know, that kind of sucked. You weren't good. And one of them or a couple of them were like, it's okay. You just keep going. You keep going. Don't stop. And it helped convince me to do a third time on stage. And that went really well. And that was the confidence that I needed, was that third show. I could have quit from that failure. Didn't. And because of that, that failure was the best thing that happened in my comedy.
Okay.
But not getting, you know, there's some shows I certainly would have loved to have been part of. You know, you'll see, I think that's more, I don't know if that counts as failure, but it felt like it to me, like, oh my gosh, if I didn't get tapped for that, then I'm not ever gonna. I'm not ever gonna amount to anything. And those are those are the hard things. Those moments of like, I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job, but oh man, I'm not getting anywhere. You know that. So not necessarily failure, just lack of.
You missed out on something that was something important to you.
On something of being, that kind of thing.
I did a gig for Vince Valentine, great show promoter. Learned a lot about running shows from him. But it was for a bunch of cops in South Jersey, and I stunk. I mean, and it wasn't with a whole different set of jokes. It was just jokes that took too long to be funny for a rowdy crowd, and so that failure really taught me something about getting out of the gate like fast. No matter what the environment, but particularly in more beer fueled, noisy kinds of things. They don't want to hear a lot of set up and backdrop. I mean,
Do you open with the same joke every set now, like a quick hitter?
I tend to open with a quick hitter every time. There are several different ones that I've gotten comfortable leaning on, but that was the object lesson in why to do that.
Okay.
So so that was one, and then going back to the whole contest thing, not to roll out untested material in any environment ever. So those two.
I will tell you this. It was a couple years in, I did a Philly's Funniest, and I thought I did enough to at least advance, and I didn't, and that pissed me off to the point that it made me better, because it made me delve into, okay, let me watch the tape critically. And that's one of the shortest tapes of myself, and I put it out during COVID-19 for a little comic relief. And when I looked at that tape from Philly's Funniest last year, I'm like, okay, you didn't deserve to go on. Because when I look at that tape from last year, as to opposed to what I'm doing now, I'm like, I missed a lot of opportunities to make them laugh more. Now, not that the tape wasn't funny, but this is the grow and evolve thing that I'm talking about. I'm like, I said stuff in that Philly's Funniest that at the time, the mattress joke was only like this big. Now the mattress joke's this big. There's things I'm like, okay, that was good. You should have said this instead of that. So that's, if you have tape, is critical helping you get better. I hate losing comedy contests. It's a competitor in me.
Yeah.
But when I go back and I look at it, I'm at least honest enough with myself to go, okay, you can get better. And that's what I want to do. I want to get so good that I can't be denied, whether it's a break show, contest, or whatever. I want them to go, holy man, that was just by far the craziest, funniest stuff I've ever heard. So contests bring out the worst and best in me because they make me really dig deep and not stay comfortable.
Okay.
And that's what I can say there.
Okay.
I haven't really failed at anything. I've been pretty much perfect since day one. So.
That's, you know what? That's what I thought. That's why I just.
What fit? And this is a bunch of failures, but I think I used to get so worked up and I'm so nervous about shows that like it would come out sometimes in anger if a crowd wasn't going well, or like somebody heckled me, I'd get angry at them, and then like I'd yell at them, and then I'd be the asshole. So I learned to a certain extent like ease off and just be like, I can't take this too seriously because I failed on stage so many times of taking it too seriously. It's like I just got to be looser with this.
Okay.